Hello everybody and welcome back to Gran Turismo. We did a video on this game not too long ago, but since I've been away there's been a major update, and I was going to wait until I was back on my sim rig to cover this, but that's going to be in about a week or so didn't want to wait that long and I wanted to cover the new update. Now, this isn't going to be the usual format where we talk about the new cars. I feel like that's kind of passed a bit. There are new cars in the game. I will be resuming the normal like Top Gear style format for the next update, but for today we're focusing on one thing, and that is this, Sophy 2.0. Now, Sophy is Gran Turismo's custom AI racing framework, essentially. And before I get into show you what it's all about, please feel free to like and subscribe, because only 25% of you are actually subbed to the channel. And thank you to our patrons and members for bringing this content straight to you. They're all on screen right now. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be heading to one of the racetracks of my choosing to show off which Sophy tracks there are. Now, it's very easy to see. Sophy supported tracks are the ones that have this little heart by them, and as you can see, most of the Europe tracks do have it. Some of the American tracks also have it. They're the main ones, really, like Interlagos, Laguna Seca, Road Atlanta, the ones that you'd really want. And in Asia/Oceania, we have three, which are the main ones here, like Suzuka, Tokyo Expressway, and Mount Panorama. What we're going to be focusing on today, I think, is Suzuka, because I've just been at the race. There's some footage on screen now of the race when I went. If I watched it at home, I would have said it's very boring, but it was my first time at the F1, so the race itself is kind of sidelined by the fact that there are so many cars on track and it's really exciting, and we're going to be basically recreating that in a custom race here, because Sophy is now supported in custom races. So, on your rival car selection, you now have regular AI or Sophy AI. I'm going to go in and load our F1 settings from the Red Bull Ring, which is 8 laps. I believe rolling start is the only start type we can have for Sophy, which kind of sucks. And I do have a bug where I can't adjust the rolling start interval at all. I can put it to 30, but it just sticks with 15, which is a little bit weird. But we're starting in 11th, our grid layout is done, our weather is preset, and all the rivals are set to actual F1 cars. And essentially what Sophy is it's more in-depth than the normal AI. They will react properly, they'll get annoyed when they're overtaken, they'll go wide more often. And my racing isn't going to be the best today because I am on controller, not on my wheel, but I just wanted to show this off. And also take in a track that I've actually just been to, which is going to be really weird to see in VR, I think. But I'm very excited, so let's take a look. I'll also happily point out where I was here. As you can see, we've got a race full of the actual F1 car liveries. And also what you want to do is turn off your driver name display, because I think that turns off the little kind of smiley faces that you see by the cars as you drive to make it a bit more immersive. So let's hop in and do this, and let's make sure my car is on softs. It is. I'm driving the SF24 from last year. Let's do this. As you can see though, the rolling start is a little weird, but here we are. And as you can see, the field is spreading out a lot more than they used to with the regular AI. And I am going to struggle a bit on controller, but it's okay. And you see, as soon as I slip up, the AI takes advantage of that. You know, I just got overtaken by that Williams there, and they saw the gap instantly and they took it. Throw it down the inside, a lot of curb. But the AI actually fight properly, it's fantastic. Oh, very wide around the hairpin there. We're coming up to where I was in the race now, to Spoon Curve, and I was here in FP1, and then as the race started, I was on this side of Spoon, right there. That's exactly where I was, watching the race. That is crazy. But right now the AI is on its intermediate setting, which is fairly decent, but also, you know, fairly beatable. As you can see, they left proper space for me there as well, which is impressive. But it just means that they'll really act like proper racing drivers. I think there is a bit of kind of jank with pit stops. I think they do get a bit confused with that, but I'm sure that'll be fixed in the future. But as of right now, it's just great to see AI that like properly overextend sometimes and will mess up some braking points, and will properly fight and leave space and take space when they need to, rather than just being like a kind of like a big queue like they used to be. Because it does make for more of a challenge, of course, but it just makes it a lot more immersive. Because when you've got drivers that actually act like they should, It adds a lot to it. But this for me has just kind of made this game changing. I've wanted for so long to have AI that will do the things that a human would do and react accordingly. And for people that play only single player, they've never really had that opportunity, you know, to race that sort of opponent. Because sure, you'll get it in multiplayer because you're actually playing people in sport mode, but in terms of single player, custom events really did leave a lot to be desired. Oh, down the inside here. Lost traction a bit. Round the outside of Max. And here's Lando. A different order to the actual race, of course, on the day. Oh, and there you go. The AI for Lando's car just properly came to overtake them. And there as well, trying to cover off the exit a little bit because he knew I was attacking. And there we go, I've let off. And he's immediately looked for that space. And I've been double overtaken. But then Max's car has then backed out as I pushed into the corner a little bit more. It's just realistic racing. To a degree, of course. And now those two are battling behind a bit. It's so cool to watch. And it doesn't just apply to Super Formula races either. As you can see, works just fine for other classes, I say. As the racing gets a little bit rowdy there. Of course, one of the favourite tracks for this will be this, the Nürburgring. You know, seeing cars send it down the inside of each other. It's seriously cool as an update. And lastly, I do just want to show you something kind of cool with the Sophy AI that makes watching races a bit more interesting. So, one thing that you can do is you can go and grab any car that you want really, but what I feel is that the open-topped cars are usually the best for this. And I'm going to find a nice spot to watch the race from, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So what you do is you start the race, and you let these guys take off, you let them go. But you go and find somewhere on the track to kind of pitch your car up and watch the race as if you were there in real life. And it's in the gravel over here. Now you will have to turn off return to track because otherwise the game will try and, you know, return you to the track. But here we go. I can now hear the cars going over there. But you can hear them go past, then you get to pretend like you're at a race event. I think if you also sit here for the entirety of the race and then view it in the replay mode, the car will disappear, but I'll check that afterwards. But you can also just hop into a race and kind of park a guy and pretend you've parked it up and you're watching one happen. So the cars are about to come past, and you watch the race as if you were actually here. It's such a cool little thing you can do. As they're looking for like moves on each other, and there are a lot of places obviously you can kind of watch intently from afar, depending on whether you want to see overtakes or just a long part of the track like this. But it is like watching it in real life a bit. It is pretty damn cool. One immersion breaking thing though is, of course, they will be waving blue flags every time they go past you because you are a competitor in the race, but they will still be racing despite that. So it is quite a cool little gimmick to have, I think. And then if you go and play the VR replay, you can wait for yourself to park up, and then it will essentially give you a freestanding point on the track here to kind of sit at with no HUD or overlay or anything. In my own time, I'm definitely going to hop into Suzuka and see what the angles there are like for kind of pitching up and watching the race, whether I can get something similar to how it actually was while I was there. But here we go, here they come. Really cool. Really cool. And that will be all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. It's just been a little look at Sophy AI 2.0. You can now get custom races. They're a lot more fun to drive in, and also a lot more fun to watch if you want to pitch up and watch a race real life style. As always, thank you for your support, and I hope to see you all in the next one.